is that the image was formed by a sudden burst that was quick and precise of light radiation. The Shroud of Turin is a 14 feet 6 inches long and 3 feet 9 inches wide linen cloth that is believed by many to be the authentic burial cloth of Jesus Christ. The Shroud of Turin is the most studied artifact in the world and has its own field of study called syndenology. This linen cloth is so spectacular that the best logical conclusion is that it is simply a miracle. The Shroud of Turin bears a light, faint image of a crucified man, along with real bloodstains on the shroud. Listen to these top 10 facts regarding the image and the blood that have been carefully studied and documented since 1978 from the Shroud of Turin Research Project team. I'm going to include new and updated information that you may not have known, but also go over some well known facts about the shroud for those that might be new to syndenology. So, the image is only present on the topmost fibrils of the fibers. Each thread is made up of about 70 to 120 linen fibers that are 0.25 to zero point 0.3 millimeters each. These fibers are 10 to 20 times thinner than a human hair. The image is caused by the fibers being discolored due to them being hyperaged. The discolored fibers are at a more advanced stage of degradation. In other words, they are older than the non-colored fibers. And this discoloration is only about zero point 0.2 micrometers of the circumference of the fibers. This means that the image does not cover the entire region of the fibers. It's only about 2% thick. Also, we have the lightness and darkness of the image is not because they are shaded in a different tone. This contrast is actually based on fibril proximity. Similar to pointillism drawings, the light and dark areas are based on the proximity of image fibrils to each other. Each fibril is about the same shade. The Shroud of Turin did not come into contact with the body to form the image. There is no directionality to the image. The image was formed straight up and down, projected from the body to the linen. This means that parts of the image was formed through empty space onto the shroud. A well-known fact about the shroud is that the image is a photonegative. This means that light and dark areas are reversed. When the shroud was first photographed in 1898 by Secondo Pia, he expected his photographic plate to show a poor resolution negative image. Instead, the plate showed a good resolution positive image. This means that the image on the shroud is a photo negative. Photos, images, and paintings do not contain 3D information. They are all two dimensional. The image on the shroud contains actual 3D information. So there is a cloth to body distance relationship that that allows for actual models of the crucified man to be produced. And next, the image is not paint. There's no paint, dye, ink, stain, acids, pigments, or any other substance that an artist would use to create an image. There's no substance that's binding the fibers together. Also, no tool was used to create the image. Number 4, the blood came first. The blood on the Shroud of Turin predates the image. In other words, there's no image under the bloodstains. Now, this is a very important aspect when others attempt to recreate the shroud. Another interesting fact about the blood is that the blood is scientifically proven to be real human blood. But also, the blood contains a serum retraction ring around it because the blood was trying to clot, which is typical for postmortem blood. This serum is only visible under ultraviolet fluorescent light. It's not visible to the naked eye and was unknown until about 100 years ago. Number two, so the wounds on the shroud aligns with the gospel crucifixion account. We have nails in the wrist area, not the palms. And this was unknown during the medieval period. Scourge marks all over the body, pierced in his side, rigor mortis set in, which we can see from the legs, the feet, and the upper body. We have puncture wounds all over his head that's consistent with a cap or a crown of thorns, instead of that neatly wrapped circle crown of thorns that's portrayed in many paintings. And lastly, the best conclusion for the shroud is a popular consensus in Scientology that the image was formed, that the image was produced by a sudden, brief burst of powerful radiation emitted from the body itself. The amount of radiation required to produce this type of image does not exist in the world today. Here's some things to consider. Radiation emitted from the body is popular, but it's not the only explanation that's proposed. There are other explanations that do not fully explain the evidence that the shroud provides. These other theories do not account for every piece of evidence surrounding the shroud. So to you, I say, follow the evidence. If the evidence leads to a natural cause, then it's possible that it's a natural cause. If it leads to a supernatural cause, then it's also possible that it's a supernatural cause that produced the shroud. Science cannot prove everything, especially the supernatural. Science gives you evidence, and then that evidence is interpreted. Many believe that the Shroud of Turin is authentic, but many do not. I believe that all sides should be open to a natural or supernatural cause. Just be open and follow the evidence given. Now, I want to propose these questions to you. Now, consider this. Why is the Shroud of Turin the only shroud in history to have this type of image on it? And why is there no body with this particular shroud? Why and how were they separated? And why, and also, was there any other person in history that was crucified with these specific details presented by the shroud and the Gospels? So, why does the shroud match the Gospel accounts so well with puncture wounds around the head for a crown of thorns, according to Matthew 27:29? You have a beaten face, according to Mark 14:65, a plucked beard that was prophesied in Isaiah 50:6, the side wound that was written in John 19:34. You have nails in the wrists and the feet, according to John 19:18, and across all the Gospels. Scourge marks, according to Mark 15:15, and blood with low oxygen, consistent with crucifixion victims. So if the shroud is a fake, then there's nothing more to say. But if the shroud is authentic, then it means a great deal. It provides evidence that the Gospels are true. It provides evidence that there really was a man named Jesus of Nazareth who was crucified, died, and raised from the dead. This means that God really did send his son to die for our sins. Your only requirement is to put your trust in him so that you can be saved. If you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, then you shall be saved. Hey, thanks for watching to the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.